and welcome to Martlet Games. My name is Sarah, and I'm the storyteller for this historical Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition chronicle, London's Bleeding. A mature content warning applies for this story. There will be themes and descriptions of violence, loss of character agency, gaslighting, coarse language, and more. The table has discussed their lines and veils, their hard limits, and makes use of the yellow and red card safety system during play. Take care of yourself above all. If you become uncomfortable or triggered, don't hesitate to step away. We'll be waiting for you with open arms should you decide to return. I'm pleased once again to welcome our kindred, starting with Walter.
Hi, my name is Ben. I'm playing the gangrelous Walter Price.
Hi, Patrick, and I am playing Rafe Williams, the Toreador novelist, or journalist. Sorry about that. Journalist. Yeah. Storyteller.
I'm Samantha McLarty, and I am playing the Ventru Lillian Crawford, boss bitch, and a lot of times bitch boss.
Hi, everybody. I'm Stephen Rieger, and I'll be playing Tommy, the Malkavian that is losing it.
All of the previous descriptions are accurate, in my estimation. Thank you to my players once again, and to those watching wherever and whenever you are. Without a heartbeat and synapses alight with electrical impulses, can a kindred truly love someone in the way we mortals know it? Can they love their mortal spouse while they're still alive, so warm and inviting in their hands? Can they love their mortal child, now elderly and forgetful? Is it possible for them to love their kindred childer, carefully chosen or created by mistake? Perhaps it's possible, perhaps they can. Yet history shows that the beast devours love and overwhelms affection, replacing it with morbid obsession and falsified bonds. Love becomes a tool for domination, a crutch to lessen the pain of immortality, or simply a lie that a kindred tells himself to deny their monstrous condition. We resume the game 2 nights after the events at Bollingsworth Fine Glass facility in East London. It's 4 nights until Elysium. Let's not forget. So we're going to check in with our kindred individually. So we'll do our rouse checks individually as well, not all together. So let's start with Lillian.
All right.
So, everything is pretty typical at your residence this evening. You do see a brand new floral arrangement on the table in your foyer. And anything you would do upon waking this evening?
I did my rouse check. I didn't get hungrier, but I think I was still at hunger 2 from the previous session, so I would have definitely eaten by now.
Yeah, I was going to say all of you can be at hunger 1 for the purposes of having a couple nights past.
Cool. And yeah, I would get up and essentially check. I have a captive currently.
You do indeed. So speaking of the captive, as soon as you're up and moving around and ready, one of the servants comes to find you, just one of the women, the maids, and she says, excuse me, Miss Crawford, there's someone here to see you.
Oh dear. Who?
I believe it's Marlon. He has some information for you, he said.
Fantastic, wonderful. All right. And I will head to, I will tell her to bring him into the drawing room, please. And that is where I'll go.
And she nods. So eventually, just a few moments later, she brings in Marlin, who's dressed in a vest and a long coat, a stylish hat of the time. He is looking a bit pale. Not quite the confident demeanor that you remember from other interactions you've had with them, and he sort of bows his head quickly and he says, Mum, I've come with information for you.
All right, get on with it.
Right. So the first part with Nicholas Dale, the man Bess is seeing, we went along to the dinner that night, just kind of watched her and all that. The Dale family wealth is legitimate. Nicholas Dale's father is a duke, and it's a very quaint estate in the northeast of London. Everything quite above board that I can tell, no criminal dealings or anything like that. Bess and Nick, I mean, it's clear she feels a great affection for him already. Nick's quite affected by the war, but he does seem to soften around Bess, and she wants to be with him every hour of the day and night. I mean, it's clear that she's in love, whatever that means to you, Mum.
Right. Okay, all right. Are there any other individuals that seem to frequent their residence, the Dale estate, essentially? Anyone that is not related or the help? Anyone that, I don't know, seems either maybe out of place or potentially not even out of place, just an unusual advisor, maybe?
Not that I could tell, Mum. I do believe that, we could spend some more time looking into him and watching the house more, but from what I've and Edith have observed so far, seems nothing unusual, just a man affected by war and his young love and a bustling family estate.
Well, all right. Yes, do continue to keep an eye on the situation. Thank you.
Of course. And he actually he takes his hat in his hand and he kind of looks down and then looks back up at Lillian. I did, like you said, I got my friend Jacob to come and deal with the man in the wine cellar, so to speak. We took him to the cask room. Jacob was quite rattled after a night with this captive. I get the impression that it's perhaps not his finest work in this field, but it did yield some information. The prisoner said that there were at least 25 like him in service. Not clear what that meant. And they've got like 4 or 5 some kind of animal, some kind of bird that flies. again, it's I'm not a learned man. I don't know what types of things could be out there, especially up in the malls. But so
that's all right. Just continue.
And so that was the majority of what we got. But the prisoner became incoherent and just kept chanting a name. Regina, 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 over and over, like all night. Couldn't shut him up, put a gag in his mouth. He kept spitting it out and saying it more. The only other thing he said was, in the middle of all this chanting of the name, was famine for the king.
Does that sound anything to me?
I mean, the phrase doesn't sound like it came like from any particular place that you know, but you could extrapolate certain things from that phrase, potentially, about the kindred world, I'd say. So Jacob kind of Marlin, he's kind of like, he's shifting. He's like, I got a peek of the prisoner through the door. I mean, I know it wasn't my assignment, so I didn't pry while Jacob was doing his work, but I mean, does he have some kind of medical condition? Like, what's wrong with him? And what did he do?
Oh, well, what he did is of no concern to you, and as for a medical condition, yes, he does. He contracted something, I don't know, during the war, perhaps, not really certain. Terrible, terrible thing, though, really. Really just a pity it changed him forever, but he is quite the villain. I'm to understand that is why he's in the cellar. That is why I need to find out all the information I can from him, otherwise we may end up with, I don't know, another extremist, event. And we don't want that, now do we?
No, of course not, Mom. I just hope it weren't the flu. And the war.
No, not flu. It's something much worse than that, like a leprosy or something, I think.
Oh. Ew.
I don't think it is leprosy particularly. That is quite contagious, and I would never have that in my home. But something similar to that. So, yes, you might want to make sure you get your shots, just in case.
Yeah.
Should do the trick, I'm told.
Right. So how do you want us to proceed with the prisoner?
I believe I think I can handle it. Just keep him quite detained in the cellar, please, and I'll handle it from here, thank you.
Of course, Mom. He's restrained with metal. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Wonderful. And Jacob, would you please have him come to me?
Oh, yeah, I mean, like I said, he's a bit shaken up, but...
Right, I would like to just make sure that he didn't manage to contract something. I have, contacts with the best doctors, so... Just send him to me, please.
Right away?
Yes. Now.
And he kind of shakes his head, and then he is going to go down to the cellar and basically come back up to you right away with Jacob. And Jacob definitely looks like a bruiser. He's not necessarily very tall, but he's got like really large biceps and arms that are kind of like bulging out of this white cotton shirt. He's got suspenders and slacks, and he doesn't look disheveled or anything like that, but like if Marlin looked pale, Jacob looks like he saw a ghost. And his eyes are kind of like shifting around wildly. And Marlin kind of like gives him a little bit of a push on the back, like to like address you properly. And so Jacob kind of stiffens up and does a short bow, and he goes, Mum.
That'll be all, Marlin. Thank you. You may close the door on your way out. I will send Jacob home after I've ensured everything is all well and good.
And Marlin wordlessly exit and closes the door behind him. Jacob, when you say the word home, send him home, Jacob's like eyes get kind of like really big and like hopeful for a moment. And he looks at you, he's like, I know Marlin told you some of what I did. What else do you need to know, Mum?
Did anything else happen while you were down there doing what you do best? Did you see anything? Experience anything?
He had a tongue like a snake, and eyes like yellow like a lizard, and teeth, the most awful teeth. But I know it's not my place to wonder about certain things. It's not my job. I just go there to get the information. That's why you, Marlin, brought me in. So, yeah, he kept saying that, yeah, at least 25 of like him in the ranks, with more on the way, he said, and didn't elaborate, and talked about a creature with wings that many of them up north all look different, more servants, it seems like, of this, I don't know, gang leader, or I don't know, the person in charge.
Right. Did he give any indication as to how many people were in charge, so to speak? Sort of like a leader and a co-leader or something?
Yeah, of course he was praising some lady named Regina. I mean, basically the whole night. And then he did actually say one other time there was a man named Demeter. And that he would make horrible things that walked around, destroy things. I couldn't begin to understand what he might have meant there. I know there's been a lot of things since the war been developed, but nothing like that.
Right. Well, I do greatly appreciate everything that you've been able to get from him, and of course, it doesn't, what you have learned, none of this, it's completely confidential. Discretion is even more so appreciated. You will be well compensated, but I'm also going to need you to forget what you saw.
I am assuming you are employing your dominate discipline here.
Yep, forgetful mind. I'm gonna rearrange things a bit.
Okay, so please roll a rouse and then a manipulation and dominate for me, please.
Yep. I am not hungrier. I'm good.
Okay.
5 critical.
Okay, so you will basically be able to add or remove 3 memories from this guy.
Right, so essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange the appearance of him.
Okay, sure.
He had some terrible disease, skin disease. Must have got it from the war, like leprosy, but not leprosy.
Got it.
There's not really a name for it. I'm having him checked by the best doctors, of course. And I'm going to remove the names from his memory.
Okay, sure.
And let me see. Hold on. Yeah. I'm going to remove the names and the thing about the winged creature.
Got it.
Creature.
Okay. Yep, and those are, because of your critical success, those are flawless memories. He will not question his brain's account of those things, what you've added and removed. So his face goes slack for a second, this kind of like big cut jaw and these bushy eyebrows and furrowed brow, and he's like, may I go home now, Mum?
Oh, absolutely. And yes, thank you so much. Should I need you again, I will absolutely call upon you. You've been ever so helpful.
Glad I could do so, Mum.
Mm-hmm.
And he will... Are you having someone take him home, or is he just leaving?
I mean, I don't think that I'm sure he can find his way home.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so Jacob leaves. And actually, as Jacob leaves, so relieved, and then a very young man comes through the door as he and goes to find you, and he goes through the foyer and into the drawing room, and maybe like a maid calls after him or something, but he just keeps moving, and he approaches Lillian. He looks like he's maybe like 19 years old, and he's very smiley.
I beg your pardon. Whatever do you think you are doing, barging into my home?
Oh, I have a message for you.
Uh-huh.
The message is, get your house in order. The fire is licking at your heels. We and your friends will meet the night before Elysium at the Elgin. Goodbye, Mum. Oh, from Miss Anne, of course. Goodbye. And he just leaves. And then he goes right back out the door. And you know that the Elgin is a Victorian pub in the Kensington area. So this is like around where your residence is. Mm-hmm. We're talking nice, fancier part of town near Kensington Palace, nearly. So that is the message from that cheery messenger. And with that, we are going to move. Oh, go ahead. Anything else?
One more thing. Yeah, after that happens, I'm just going to have one of my servants, probably the driver. If you don't mind, could you please locate Tommy for me and bring him here? Thank you. Let him know it is of the utmost importance. Very urgent.
Yes, of course. And he will pretty much get directly on the way in the car over to East London. Okay, so we are going to flip over to Rafe. So Rafe has been taking some nighttime walks to check out what's going on in the London skies.
Yes, so Rafe's been walking around with his notepad, activating and using heightened senses whenever possible, but Rafe has been keeping track of any... he's basically become a gargoyle spotter. If he sees anything suspicious in the night sky, he takes notes, where he saw it, what direction it was moving, etc., and so forth. He's also been checking in with Brimmer from time to time just to see how things are going with the what Rafe is assuming is a mass exodus to Brimmer's territory from what happened at the glass facility. But other than that, though, that's what Rafe's been keeping his attention to.
Yeah. So based on your gargoyle sightings, what you saw, so you saw 2 different gargoyles. You, even from far away, you could tell they had different composition, different appearance. You saw them basically just circling around East London in that St. Catherine and Wapping area. It seems like possibly like almost patrol-like in the movements, but instead of like flying up north as you've seen them do before, or down towards the Thames, they're really staying in this St. Catherine Wapping area right north of the Thames and east of the Tower of London. So that's what you saw in your gargoyle thing. And in your contact with Brimmer and his crew, you will know that Tommy also paid a visit to Brimmer in these nights that you all were not together. Mm-hmm. The nature of it, you know, they're not telling other people's business, basically. And
Rafe is not about to start prying into Tommy's by any stretch of the imagination, so... Rafe will just file that away, that Tommy was down talking with Brimmer, but other than that, that's all that Rafe is going to put towards that.
Okay. And the other question that I had for Rafe was, has he written any more of his book or any prose after the interview with the war vet?
Yeah, so he's taken that initial interview and he started to apply the journalist touch, taking out the parts that aren't important, maybe embellishing the spicier bits. Just he's not lying by any stretch, but he's making it more enjoyable to read. Or at least that's what he's attempting to do.
Okay, great. Just wanted an update there.
Which I'm more than happy to roll for that if you want.
Yeah, go ahead and give me intelligence and performance, and I believe you can add your specialty there.
Yep.
Yeah.
One, two, three. I almost want to spend a willpower point just because of how many dice I have and how bad this roll was, but
I hear you.
I'll call it good at 3.
Okay, so the ball is definitely rolling. The ideas are there. You have a couple of turns of phrase that are like, winners, or maybe will be a winner with a little bit of revision. So you start on the foundation, but you didn't like crush it right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. So that's the status of Rafe's project there. Okay. So anything else you would like to be doing just individually, Rafe, this evening? Did you give me your rouse check?
Oh, I did not.
Okay.
I am still good, and may I note I am rolling some of Rosie's dice, and I have yet to fail a rouse.
Wow.
On Rosie's dice, so...
What an endorsement.
Yes.
That's
Love
cheating.
it. Love to see it. Love to see it. Great. So
with Ben down there.
So cool. You do not get hungrier. So with that, we're going to flip over to Walter. So you wake up from your day sleep, and give me your rouse check, please.
Do it. High is good, right? I don't
Yes.
think I've ever made one.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and see.
I got a 7.
But now you did.
Yeah.
Wow. Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Well done.
So good. So Walter does not get hungrier, and the crew around you in the past couple of nights, they're vital, they're healthy, they're getting a little bit restless.
I was about to say, it's like Walter took that victory personally, and so like he's had a little bit of pep in his. I wouldn't say he's like giddy or anything, but he has been renewed in some way. So he's still doing rounds in his neighborhood. He's probably a bit more generous with his vitae, with his group.
Okay.
Not necessarily like, but like it's like we're making a difference now, type of thing.
Right. And that makes sense. So because you have been a bit more generous with your vitae, as you said, the minute that you emerge from your sleeping quarters, the gang's eyes are on you, and they're just like, you can tell some of them have to hold back to not just like straight up swarm you and like come and like try to touch you, and like, so there you feel the eyes turn on you. Most of the regular guys seen there, you don't see any new faces necessarily. And one of the guys come up to you. He's really tall. He's got a close cropped haircut. He's got some little tiny glasses on his face. And he comes up to Walter. He's like, "Oh, hey, Walter. What are you doing? What are you gonna do tonight?"
We're just going to keep an eye on the neighborhood. There is a new threat moving into the area, so we just need to make sure that we don't know much about them yet, so I can't tell you much, but we just need to make sure that we protect our own.
Of course. Yeah, we'll make sure that all the patrols are going off without a hitch. We're really ready to get out there and really do something big,
And doing something big will come in time. We don't instigate the big things. Just want you to remember that.
Fair enough. Well, I guess if there's something new, look, what is it? Like another gang, or I mean, we fucking killed the Bloody Fists in it. Like we haven't seen high nor hair of them. Not a single red cloth in sight.
This is just Ben. I'm like, god damn it, this guy's such a tryhard. What the hell? All right. The Bloody Fist issue took care of itself. So we are not taking credit for such things. Just know that protecting our neighborhood and our people is reward enough.
Go ahead and roll wits and insight.
It's not my strong suit.
Fair enough.
Let's do it. Let's see what happens. Let's go lucky dice. I got a 10 and a 7, so that's 2. 2.
He seems like he's retaining the things that you say, and he's taking them to heart, and possibly trying to tamp down some of the like overflowing energy that seems to be going on with many members of your crew this evening. And actually, as you kind of study him for a minute, you hear some blows being exchanged behind you, and like 2 of the guys are like fighting.
I turn around with a concerned look. Who's fighting?
It's
just 2 guys.
Just 2 guys. Just 2 guys.
Do I recognize them, or are they new faces?
One of them is new. One of them, he's been around since like the beginning. He's one of your like. He is always up for the patrols. He's a redheaded guy.
All right, I see. I see how it plays out. See if anybody else breaks it up. Like I don't need to. Like in my mind, there's obviously a problem that needs sorted. So we're gonna wait until it starts to go too far.
No one is intervening or trying to stop it. In fact, all of the people are encouraging it and hollering and carrying on and telling them to continue fighting.
Okay, well, that's too far. All right.
Okay.
I bellow, enough! And I walk in and I just kind of grab by the scruffs the 2 men and pull them apart.
And they maybe like try to like squirrel out at the beginning, but as soon as like they feel that grip on the back of their like shirts and neck, they kind of stop, and they kind of like, like roll their shoulders and like wipe some blood from their nose and be like, I saw him out with my girl. I saw him at the pub. She says she was at home, but she was out with him.
I don't care what this is about. You obviously have issues that you need to work out, and maybe punching each other is the way to do it. But I'm mostly disappointed, and I look at the group. I'm mostly disappointed in you lot. These are 2 of your brothers having a petty argument, and you egg them on like they're dogs. And they are not. They are men of this pack, not your entertainment. Ought to be ashamed of yourselves. And I'd look at the 2 men. And you 2, grow the fuck up.
And they both like mutter to themselves a little bit, but then they separate.
There's no muttering here. Grow the fucking spine and talk to me.
It's just You'd be fine with someone stealing your woman.
No, I wouldn't be fine with it. But I wouldn't be fighting in the middle of this room. Grow up. And she's not your woman. She's a person. If you don't like the way she conducts her business, find yourself another your woman.
And he like turns a deep shade of red at that. And he's kind of like fully chastised. And he like walks off to a corner of the room by himself. And then
I'm gonna do a sense the beast. Is this embarrassment or rage?
It's embarrassment.
Okay.
The rage is simmering, but I mean, from this interaction, you take away that a lot of these guys are getting real hot-blooded and just and restless and wanting to do something other than patrol the neighborhood. Like
it's turning really bro-y here.
I mean, you get a lot of men in one place, and sometimes these things happen.
Yeah.
So
gonna have to increase the lessons.
Perhaps
I've been lax in my mentoring.
The other guy that was involved in the fight just he lights a cigarette and sits down and actually doesn't seem incredibly bothered by the whole thing.
And you say he's new?
What's that?
And you said he's new?
Yeah, he's newish, not like brand new. You've seen him maybe like once before. Maybe you sent him off on one of the easier patrols, but he's pretty new, like in the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
Anything
as I walk
else?
by him,
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, don't bring your laundry into the clubhouse. Whatever you two have to work out, you work it out.
And he says nothing and just kind of like nods seriously with the cigarette hanging out of his mouth. He's like,
okay. Well, that's got me going. I'm going to go outside and see if I can pick a fight.
okay.
Not seriously pick a fight, but like actively. So in my headspace, it's one of those where he's actively looking for trouble. Like he's like, while some of them are like just making sure everybody's doing okay, now we're actively looking to see. It's one of those where it's like, you know, you kind of puff your, I wish you would type of things.
Okay. So you're saying Walter leaves the residence?
Yes.
And goes out into the neighborhood surrounding the Shadwell Basin and is looking for a fight. So are you like he wants to antagonize somebody?
I'm not antagonizing. I'm just making it's just flavor text, really. Like I'm not outside. I'm not out looking to punch somebody. I'm just doing a probably too watchful eye at looking for.
He's looking for an excuse to punch someone.
Right.
Right. Sure. Okay. I think I understand a little bit better now.
I don't expect you to throw a monster at my feet. That's not what I'm expecting.
But since you did step outside, I will actually get a wits and awareness roll for you.
Okay. Hey, 2. 5's a bad, right?
Yeah, 5 is a failure. Okay. So it seems pretty quiet tonight. You probably see like if you walk around to the pubs, I mean, there's always something popping off in an alleyway in East London. Like if you're trying to like intervene in something, you can easily do that, and we won't necessarily play it out, but we'll say that Walter gets his fix, so to speak, with some people behaving poorly in an alleyway of a pub.
And it's not so much that I kick their ass. It just like, get them out, like scare them, like just breaking stuff up is what he's doing. When normally he'd be like, it's just people being people.
Yeah, and I'm gonna roll a quick die here. You actually managed to like genuinely calm a lot of like the perimeters of around some of these street pubs. Like they're significantly less like bloody and fighty and broy than before. Like you actively like stop enough that things seem generally quieter and people can kind of continue about their business without feeling in danger when they walk outside the pub. So you did, Walter did get to do, I think, what he wanted to do.
That's about it. Yeah.
Great. Cool. So if that is good for you for the time being, we will switch over to Tommy. Please make your rouse check.
We are successful.
Wow. Great job, everyone.
Finally.
So, Tommy, quite late into the evening, quite late indeed. The sun is a long gone memory by the time Tommy wakes up. Nathaniel is not there. There is, he usually will crawl back into bed when he thinks you're about to wake up, though his estimates have gone a bit off kilter recently because he notices you're sleeping much longer into the evening. So he is not here though at this time in your residence.
Okay, I will wake up and kind of rub where the wound in my stomach was a couple days ago. I'm assuming it's healed and doing a little better. And
we'll say you're able to heal that. Yeah, there were no long-term effects of that.
And I will head to my my dresser. Just start getting prepared for the night.
Okay. What do you do after you're all dressed and prepared?
Past couple days I've been stuck at home. I haven't done anything. I've really just stayed. I've done my talk with Brimmer, and other than that, I've kind of just been localized. I will go to check to make sure there's no mail or anything that Nathaniel may have not picked up. I don't know when Nathaniel has left, so I'm just checking places, making sure things are kept up.
So you see on the kitchen counter that there is a piece of paper folded there.
Okay. I will go and I will grab the paper.
So you unfold it, and it says, "I love you, but I can't stand the way you are. I need a few days to sort my head out." In Nathaniel's handwriting. Why don't you roll me wits and awareness?
Gotcha. That is a 3.
You don't notice anything untoward about the apartment. Everything seems to be in its place. Nothing unusual looking at all. Doesn't look like anything to Tommy.
I will
Go ahead.
Tommy's gonna sit down for a brief second and try to grasp what's going on. He'll probably get angry, grab something, throw something. I don't want to be in this house right now.
And that's very fortunate indeed, because it's at that moment that you hear a knock on your door.
I will slowly get up and not even like check the door, just open it up.
And you recognize him instantly as Lillian's driver.
What
and
do you want?
The lady of the house wants you to come over wants me to take you over there to the west side, and she wants to meet with you.
We're going to take a detour. I just shut the door behind me and start walking towards the car.
I'm under strict orders to do as the lady said, and she didn't mention anything.
Do you want to take me or not?
Just make it quick, all right? Like, I can't afford to be in a bad way with her, so please. And he gets in the driver's seat, and
Okay.
So where are you telling him to go?
We are going to drive by the friend's house that we went to the pantomime show
Okay,
for.
right.
And I am going to have him stop the car. I will get out real quick and just kind of survey and see if I could find if this is where Nathaniel is. I don't want to come off too stalkerish, but I want to make sure he's not in trouble.
Could you describe your approach? I know you said you're not trying to look too stalkery, but like, what are you doing? Are you just like walking around like the front of the apartment, or
Stand across the streets, see if there's any movements, maybe 15 minutes I'm going to take.
okay?
And just kind of, and not, and even use Mask of 1,000 Faces. So I just kind of blend in.
Okay, that's a rouse to get that going.
Yes. Let me roll for my rounds. We're good.
So you pretty much look like any bog standard East London man at that point, and a very unremarkable face. Okay, roll wits and investigation.
It's not that bad of a roll for me. That's a 4.
4. Okay, so once again, you don't see much if you get a glance through a window. There does not appear to be anyone home, or if they are home, they are possibly asleep. It's dark. Inside the windows that you can see, there's nothing like untoward around the outside perimeter. You don't hear anything.
Well, Tommy's anger level just is going to rise a bit there.
Well, thankfully that's not a quantifiable mechanical value.
Yeah. And just get in the car. Take me wherever you want to take me.
And the driver wordlessly drives you to Lillian's residence. And you arrive without incident. And he parks the car, leads you to the front door, takes you inside, and he leaves you in like the foyer with the flowers, and he says, just one moment, I'll fetch you. And so Lillian, the driver, comes to find you and is like, Mr. Tommy's here.
Wonderful. Bring him in, please.
And the driver retrieves Tommy from the foyer and brings him to the drawing room.
Hello, Tommy. Looking well.
Mom?
All right. So, let's just get to it, shall we? The friend that you all made the other night that was left in the trunk of my car has been useful. Got a bits of information out of him. And, well, thought maybe you would like to have a moment or two to ask him any further questions. And then I would much prefer it if he were rendered useless and we could either dispose of or take him to the other Nosferatu and let them have their way with him. I don't really care, but would you like to question him yourself?
Give me 5 minutes alone with him.
Not a problem. The information I already have, there are about 25 others like him, about 4 or 5 other gargoyles, a Regina, which we already knew, a Demeter that's a creator of strange creatures, and something about famine for the king. I think that's about it. So, right this way, and I'm going to walk down to the wine cellar, or to the cellar, and there I would have like a little kind of before going in, there would be kind of like a little table thing, like on a wall near the door with a drawer, and I'm gonna open the drawer and pull out a steak and hand it to him.
Sure.
In case you want to use this, there you go. Through there. And I'll open the door.
Mom, where's your tool shed?
In the back, of course. Outside.
I'm going to split off, and I'm going to grab some hedge clippers.
Okay.
And I'm taking those with me.
All right. Whatever you want to do, I don't really care. I'm sure you can find your way back up, correct? Wonderful. All right, I will see you when you are finished. And I'm going to go back upstairs. Call if you need anything.
Will do, Mom.
Okay, so Tommy, you and your hedge clippers go into a quite small windowless underground room. It's kind of got stone walls, nothing in disrepair certainly, but everything's just a bit dusty. There's probably some marks on the floor where a cask maybe has been like moved out to make more room to put this guy in here, but there's really not a lot in here. It's just kind of this this character, and he is actually strung up with metal restraints, like metal shackles on his arms, around his wrists and around his ankles, and he's kind of like up there on this stone wall. And now that you get a good look at him, he has all of these lizard-like qualities. Maybe you can see some scales peeking up around his neck. A tongue darts out of his mouth, a bifurcated tongue. Even though his head's kind of bowed, when they do open and look at you, they're just those lizard yellow gold eyes with the slit pupil. And kind of this bumpy skull with no hair. And he sees you, and his like tongue darts out, and he's like,
now I know what you're doing, and I have a few more questions before we don't need you anymore. But while I prep myself, I would like to tell you about my theory of fight or flight. And as I'm going to proceed to talk to him in this, I'm going to take these hedge clippers and clip the Achilles.
sure.
And then every digit on each hand.
Okay.
Now,
so he obviously can't contest this because he's restrained. So
now you have two options, fight or flight. You can try to run away from me, but I'm going to make that impossible for you. You could try to grab a weapon, punch me, but you can't do that either. So all you're going to be is a worthless pile of moving organic matter at my feet, begging me to end you. And I will only grant it if you tell me what I ask. And once I'm completed, I'm going to untake him off. Stake at hand.
okay. So you have, while you said this, you had clipped his hamstrings, which I think were previously clipped by Rafe at one point, at least one hamstring.
We're making sure. They can grow back.
We're doubling down on that. I mean, true, I think. I don't know. So you have cut off all the digits on his hands, like every single one. Is that what you did?
He's all palms. Yeah.
Okay. And he did react, but maybe not in as strong of a way as you were potentially expecting. Like, there were hisses and grunts, but there's not a lot of fear. It's just that he's sort of doing this. And so now you're unshackling his hands.
Yeah.
Okay. So his hands, digitless, like drop to his sides, and he's just kind of looking at you, and you see a third eyelid over his eye. And you're like, and he's like, I cannot tell you anything more. You should just put the stake in me now. And he bangs his fingerless hand on his chest.
How do you know Nathaniel?
don't know who that is.
A punch. How do you know Nathaniel? You're the ones.
I have not heard that name.
Grab a skull, slam his head to there. You have threatened mine.
There are many tendrils to the great design of Regina. Nathaniel, this is not. It is not my job. It is not my place. I don't know any Nathaniel.
Then Regina, where is she? Send me to my end.
And he kind of chuckles again, blood trickling down the sides of his mouth. He spits out a sharp tooth. Have you not seen the winged creatures go north? Surely you've seen them by now.
Well, then, you're useless to me now.
Regina, 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 Regina.
Throw the stake away. I peel his neck back, and I go to town.
I'm assuming that means you're biting his neck.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it your intention to drain him dry?
I've not had a good day today.
Okay. So, I mean, his legs are still shackled. He has nothing to grip onto you. So, he is singing very, very, very loudly directly into your ear as he basically doesn't struggle at all and lets himself be consumed by Tommy until he falls unceremoniously and turns to greasy ash. And Steve, we will make the appropriate Diablerie rolls post-session.
My next action will be to head upstairs, put the trimming clippers back, and grab a broom and dustpan.
But not clean the hedge clippers?
Somebody else will clean those for me. I'm being
Wow.
nice to sweep up this mess.
Oh, the untold story of the servants of the Crawford home.
I love how you're getting credulous because he's not cleaning the shears. You're like, not cleaning the shears?
I have a really good NDA.
I'm sure. It's called Dominate.
Yeah.
So you return the hedge clippers and then you take the dustpan and I'm assuming you sweep up the ash.
Yes.
Okay, what do you do with it then?
I will go find Lillian, and the deed is done, Mom, as I dump the dustbin into a trash can.
No. Did you Did you learn anything new? Get what you're after?
I'm certain we have to move north.
Fair enough. All right. Okay. Not a problem. Is there anything else that you might require?
I'm gonna need surveillance.
All right.
Is that something that you'd be able to provide?
Of course.
My Nathaniel.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that he's safe. He is not in my haven right now. He is in the public area. I would like to have information on where he is.
That can be easily arranged.
Now,
People for that.
the only thing that I need now is my information from Brimmer.
Well then, I suppose you had better go and get it. Should you need anything else, all you need to do is ask.
Mom.
Tommy. And I'm going to, as he, I guess, I'm sure he's leaving, I will make a call to Marlon and have Marlon's, either him or, oh my god, I can't remember her name.
Edith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One is going to stay on Nicholas Dell, and one I will have watch Nathaniel.
Okay. So we'll say you are able to reach them and basically just give them those assignments, and you communicate like where, because you more or less know where Tommy's Haven is, so you can kind of like give them as that like a starting point, and then to just kind of fan out from there. Okay. So we've checked in with all of our kindred individually. We discussed that Rafe probably would have at some point told everyone that we need to get an audience with Brimmer and basically inform them of the danger, get an update, see what's going on down there. So I imagine that all of you would be either meeting at the bridge that's right outside the Rotherith Tunnel like you had previously, or just meeting up at the entrance to the Warren itself. So how do you want to, any specific things for that, or any other deviations, I should say?
Rafe would try to be the first one there, and he would have checked ahead first just to make sure that the Nosferatu were knew to be expecting us. But Rafe will just kind of pace back and forth, waiting for whoever is going to show up. He wouldn't put any money on Lillian actually attending the meeting, but at the very least, he would expect Tommy and Walter to, at least Walter, to make it.
In the sewers? Oh, no.
Okay, so we'll say that Rafe made it to the bridge. That's not that you can just walk down the stairs and immediately into the tunnel. So we'll say Rafe made his way there. Walter would you be making any stops on the way, or are you also headed right to the bridge?
I mean, if I know about the meeting, I'll go. Yeah.
Yeah. You know that Rafe was pretty insistent that this should be a thing that goes down. So, Tommy, you left on your own from Lillian's residence? Like you left by yourself? Is that correct? Okay. So
Yes.
How are you getting back to East London? Because you're straight up like in a different part of the city.
That's a good question. Is there a car service that I could go to? How is the public transit in 1920s London?
That's a great question. But basically what we'll say is you're able to make it there within a reasonable amount of time. You definitely are arriving later than Rafe and Walter for sure. But you'll probably just be able to get some kind of car service in whatever way. Or take, different methods of transport. Now, Lillian, is it your intention not to meet up with them at all, or meet up later, or go to the bridge but not go to the Warren? Like, what's your plan here?
I imagine that I will likely meet up with them later, or I can go. I'm just not going in the sewer.
Yeah, right.
Right. So anywhere wherever, essentially, any is fine. I guess I can wait at the bridge. That would be fine.
Okay, so your
In my
driver
car.
will, yes, your driver certainly will take you to the bridge, and this is his assignment tonight, is to just basically take you wherever you need to go. So we'll say all of you are now at the bridge, ready to enter the tunnel. That everybody's together. Even if I don't know if Lillian's getting out of the car, rolling down the window, or what's going on, but
You're muted.
You will roll down the window and look
yeah.
at us and say, "What are you waiting for?"
Essentially.
I
No time to dawdle. Can we get on with this, please?
and nudge Walter. Oh, look, she actually made it.
I mean, yeah.
And I gestured to Tommy. Well, shall we?
Let's do it to it.
And Rafe's gonna go ahead and lead them down into the Warren.
okay, so doesn't take long to get to the Warren entrance, like you've been a couple of times before. Someone's actually there at the door and unobfuscates once he sees you. And you've seen him around. He's just another one of the broken mouths. So he kind of wordlessly takes you back through that little sort of interim area and then through the door where the tunnel opens up into this kind of cavern. You all notice that the Warren seems somber. Even the rats are quiet. The mood now is different than any other time that you've been here.
I nudge the nearest Nosferatu. Oh, wait, what happened? What's going on?
Well, we got someone that showed up at our door just tonight, a couple hours ago, and quite an unusual story. Bollocks and the Underprince knew you were coming, so I should just honestly take you over there, to be honest.
Right.
So he actually just takes you all to one of the tables that's usually in the gambling area, kind of around this circular table. There is a tall, slender, wiry man with short brown hair and freckles. And he's in like farmer's clothes. And they're in bad shape. He's dirty. He's like he seems to be like wiping himself off, like his face and his arms. Definitely a young man. An adult, but a young man. So he's sitting there and his hands are behind his back. And there are a couple other members of the Broken Mouths also sitting around the table, and they're kind of just like staring at him. And some of them are kind of like whispering to each other. Some of them are like, they seem like they're almost like craning their necks to get a different kind of look at him. And the Nosferatu that brought you to the table says, Underprince Brimmer can be with you shortly. But I know that Bollock said you should probably talk to him. And he gestures toward the wiry man with the brown hair and farmer's clothes.
All right, thank you.
And he actually leaves the area.
And if none of our known contacts are currently present here, Rafe will just cut right to the chase and approach the man. All right, who are you?
My name is Christopher.
Christopher what?
Christopher Wallace.
All right, Chris, you're serving the wall, lad.
No, I was a bit too young, and Mom needed help on the farm at the time, and she wouldn't stand to let me lie about my age, so I stayed home at the farm.
Good lad. You did what you should have done. So, why are you here?
I escaped from up north.
I look back to Walter and Tommy before continuing. Right. So when you say up north, you mean the Bollingsworth estate?
Yes, sir. I mean, they told me if someone's in here, that means I can trust them, right? Like you don't know her, you don't know him, do you?
No. You could say that my associates and I were quite interested in stopping whatever's going on up there.
And he seems like, momentarily at least, like some of the fear like leaves his body, because you can just tell he is extremely afraid. He's very jittery. He's looking around. He's like continuously like scanning all the different people there.
I will actually use Obeya on him. I don't have the companion up right now, so
I've got it up here.
Thank
no
you.
worries. Yeah, sure. So go ahead and roll your you need to rouse first.
Rosie's dice finally failed me. Sam, mic up. I failed.
Oh, can't you do anything right? For starters, you should probably eat something.
Well, that's...
Might as well start with a weakling. That's all you can manage.
We
really.
need this one. We need this one. And why do you always find the worst times to start rattling?
Right?
Not
Who are you
necessarily
talking to?
saying that you should eat this one. I'm saying that you should probably find someone that's sickly. I don't know. The flu tints would probably be more suited for you. It's not like you can manage to actually take on someone that has any sustenance.
Rafe's probably got his fangs out and he's biting his tongue to. He was talking out loud to his beast a little bit, and he heard Walter kind of put him in check. So he
And look, now you're biting your tongue, wasting more blood. I swear, honestly, Rafe, you should know better than this by now. I would almost say I thought better, but I really didn't.
And I will leave it at that. All right. What's my roll here?
Sure. Please roll composure plus aspects.
Okay.
I missed doing that.
We got 3 episodes in before you had to do it.
I know. I forgot that was the thing, and then you're like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to. Bitch boss time. Got it.
Yep. That's 1 success.
You call upon these powers of your blood, these rather unique powers of your blood. You remember Nurse Jackie crying on the hospital steps. And there's no change in the demeanor of Christopher. And he's like kind of like looking at you expectantly after hearing you talk aloud, and then and he's just kind of like, are you all right, sir?
It's been a long night, lad. Sorry. Just drifting a little bit. Sorry about that.
You are not able to soothe him in this moment.
Okay. Well, at least this went better than the last time. But as far as the estate, lad, how many are up there?
So many. Like they'd be in and out of the holding cells. I was there for a while, actually, maybe several weeks. There's new people all the time coming in to be held in the cells, and then they disappear. I never see them again. And then there's someone else new brought in. It's just an endless cycle of people going in and out.
Do you know do you know what we are?
And he lowers his head. And he takes a long pause. And he looks back up at you. And you see little beads of blood at the corner of his eyes. And he says, "Yes, I guess I'm one of you now as well."
When did this happen?
A week ago.
Who seems to be the most highest status Nas currently present at the table?
There is kind of like a big bruiser guy with kind of like lumps and kind of like strangely formed muscles, and he's a big guy, so he's clearly like probably a lieutenant enforcer, probably works with Bullocks on stuff. You've probably seen him around before. Kind of hard to miss him. Gigantic guy.
Do you mind if I name him?
Sure, go for it. Do it.
His name's Bloke. 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 Just because
Love it.
He's a bloke.
Yeah.
Hey, Bloke. I mean, I don't know what your policy is, but I'm assuming that you all are going to be taking care of the lad.
Oh, yeah, of course. Like, this is a safe haven for all the outcasts of the city, which, I mean, clearly.
Right. Because now, lad, the one who did this to you, did he look like the rest of those gathered here? Did they look more like me and my friends?
Doesn't look like the ones here, no. Just more like a man.
I would have picked up on the name Demeter by now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was his name Demeter?
And you can see him like lean back a little bit, kind of like rocking on his hands that are still behind his back. Yes, it was Demeter.
So Demeter was the one who made you.
Yes, he said it was for great purpose.
I look over to Tommy. I don't know I'm not all that well versed in the mysticism. You're the oldest one out of us here. I'm assuming that if Demeter's as powerful as what we think they are, that this lad is probably an asset.
I would think so. I think there's more information that he'd be willing to give us, but we just got to figure out a way to ask the right questions.
I was just an asset. I don't want to be another asset. I just want to go back to the farm with the animals, please.
That life, lad, is over with, unfortunately.
No more.
And I wish that I had better news for you, but you're unfortunately getting thrown in very, very deep, and the life that you had is over now. And I'm not that, we'll say, old myself, and I've had some very hard object lessons thrown at me here within the past couple of months. The quicker you can move past things, the better off you're gonna be, lad. This lot here will take care of you. But you need to understand that in order for whatever's happening up north to stop, we need your help. We have a purpose right now, and that is to stop whatever's going on and put an end to the suffering that's plaguing the city's lost and misfortuned. So...
You really mean it? You'll stop what's going on there, all the horrors. You'll stop them. You'll make sure he can't do this to anyone else.
We're committed to trying.
And it's at that moment that Christopher sort of shifts and puts his hands on the table. And you'll notice that they just look like two paddles made of bone. There's no separation in the digits. his hands almost look like smoothed and fused on their own. So like unable to use thumbs, unable to like not even like grab, like there's no articulation whatsoever. So, and he puts his hand, is like, I'll tell you everything I know, but please, you have to help me fix this at least.
Walter remembers where he is and doesn't say anything about it. So. It's like, God damn.
That, unfortunately, is not something that I, myself, or my associates are educated in, but we know people who should be able to at least get you going in the right direction. What has happened to you is a tragedy and a crime, and it needs to stop. And I'll personally see to it that we'll try to fix your hands. Or at least get you to someone who can.
I jab you right in the fucking ribs.
And he like immediately then takes his hands off the table and like puts them under. And you can see like when his hands are on the table, like a bunch of like the other Nas that were surrounding him were kind of like gawking, like just kind of being kind of rude about it, honestly. So Christopher sort of takes that memory of a deep breath, and he said, okay, I'll just tell you what I know. It was Demeter. He serves Regina like all of them do, but he's more important. He creates things. He destroys things. He creates more of whatever I am now. And there are others. There's many of your kind there. And some nights Demeter would come into the holding cells and he would scream and he would babble and he would be gathering body parts. I used to sell him parts of the animals from the farm, nothing going to waste. He would come and to get different things from the farm. He paid us so well, and during the war it was so difficult to make any money at all, and so he gave us so much, and he would just buy the parts from me and from Mom. Oh, Mom.
What happened to her?
I don't know. After I was captured, one day it was the regular exchange, and I was hit on the head, I think, and taken to the holding cells. I woke up there.
Right, so we're going to have to give you a full debrief. We're going to need as good of a layout as you can possibly provide. Try to get as accurate of a head count as possible. I understand that you have been through a lot of trauma, and you've seen some things that no one should ever have to see. But every piece of information that you can provide us is going to help. I mean, no speck of information is going to be insignificant, I can promise you.
And he nods a few times, and you can see him kind of lost in his head, and then he he like sort of unconsciously like takes his hands out again and like puts them out on the table as if he's expecting a different result. And the other Nas start like gawking and like whispering again, and you just hear just the like really loud like stomping sounds, and then you hear Brimmer bellow at this group around the table, and his like jowls are just like swinging, and there's like and he's like moving his arms, and he says, "Shut the fuck up, you lot. It's not in the spirit of the mouths. Does it matter a fucking whit what he looks like? You've heard what he's been through. Leave him alone. That's an order." And the other Nas that were sitting around the table are like, and they actually like get up and kind of dissipate. And Brimmer sort of lumbers forward and sits down, and the chair, like the wooden chair, just like creaks. And he looks at Walter and Rafe and Tommy. And he kind of stares at all of you for a second, and he's like, "Rough seas ahead." And that's where we're going to take a break. So please get some hydration, get a snack, take a stretch, do whatever you need to do. And we will be back with more London's Bleeding in just a few moments. Stick around. Welcome back to Martlet Games. This is London's Bleeding, our Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition historical chronicle. We are picking back up in the Nosferatu Warren under the Rotherith Tunnel, where Rafe, Walter, and Tommy just have been approached by the Nosferatu Underprince Brimmer. And Lillian is in a car, just chilling, straight chilling. Not coming into this nasty place. So Brimmer had sat down and kind of somberly greeted them. And he said, "I'm glad to see you boys."
Underprince, always a pleasure.
"I'm going to get right to it. Beyond what you've seen from Christopher here, who came knocking on our door after escaping a manor of auras up north, and as I'm sure I believe you discussed with Bollocks another time, that the Prince of London is soon making another appearance. As for us here in East London in the tunnel, there'll be no new embraces, closing ranks, no new members. Bunch of squadrons rolling out to different parts of London, trying to get some more coverage and scraping together everything we have to cover our asses when Mithras finds out what's going on.
Now, Underprince, as far as the embracing is concerned, one could argue that you had implied permission to a certain extent to overlook the Nosferatu down here.
Correct.
Whatever is going on with the Bollingsworths, that is 100% arguably against the traditions, correct?
Certainly. Especially, I mean, you saw he's not one of ours. He's not a Nos. We don't know what he is.
Right, I've not seen Christopher. Quite frankly, lad, I haven't seen a kindred like you before. It's best to I kind of make a little aside to Brimmer, just trying not to talk about the lad, but he's sitting right there. But yeah, as far as Mithras is concerned, I mean, that is definitely an argument that you can try to make. But as far as the fallout from the glassworks, have you heard anything in particular about the tower taking any interest in what happened there? I've not heard anything.
Yes. I believe the tower is on their way to knowing. I'm almost certain that Lady Anne knows. Oh, and not sure you've been back around there since you visited last. And he, summons, a Nosferatu from one of the, just other areas, oh boy, paper. And he gets a newspaper and he puts it down on the table and it says, not the front page, but some pages in, it says, little used fine glass facility burns to the ground.
Oh, Tommy, you made the paper.
Shame it's not the front.
Not that we were going for that sort of grandiose display, mind you, Underprince, but there were quite a lot of them in there, I guess, and all things considered, that played out about as good as it could, unfortunately. All things considered, we're alive. The facility is no longer usable for whatever means the Bollingsworths had. Now, if we can just...
And he crosses his arms.
At least I'm assuming that everything has been fine down here. I've been trying to make a point to stop down and keep tabs on how things are.
Well, it's interesting you say that. Now, normally I'd chew you all new arseholes for burning down something in the night. I don't believe that necessarily was the ideal outcome. And stares at Tommy. Regardless, we have more pressing matters now than a burnt down factory. There's a spy in our midst. But Myron, out on his first mission for us, his first bit of investigation, he was able to root him out. And he took him to the tobacco docks, was holding him there for questioning. But now, haven't heard report nor hide or hair of Myron or the 3 other broken mouths that we sent to tail him to make sure we didn't fuck it up too badly. Not a single one. We had at least 2 expected to come make a report to us earlier tonight, and we've seen no one.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't advise you that there are, I'm unsure if your men have seen it or not, but there are gargoyles actively patrolling the night.
Yes, yeah, the flying fucks, I even seen one.
I look over to Walter and Tommy. I don't want to speak for the rest of us here as far as Myron's welfare is concerned. This is something that we would be interested in getting involved in or not.
I mean, are we not already? I don't. It's
Listen, it's not just that. Oh, hey, they haven't returned and we're worried about him or whatever. It's not just that. It's that there was a spy in this whole thing. I don't know who they've been spying for. If they were spying for the prince, they were spying for, I don't know, some ventru fuck or some other person entirely, something to do with the Bollingsworth. I don't know, but I figured you'd like to know this situation since there could be a connection.
Isn't your group the ones who are like top notch at this clandestine skullduggery? I'm not a smart man. I can walk around, but I'm not inconspicuous either. The best I can do for you is to put a big target on my back, pretend to be somebody who's incompetent and wait to get jumped and just hope that my hide is thick enough that I can see who it is and neutralize it. That's my plan.
Well, Walter, I mean, Myron is a bit fresh. And, Underprince, if you had one spy, you more than likely have more than one.
Exactly, which is why we need the one to talk.
All right, so, what is it, bait then? So it was, Myron. Myron's gone missing, right?
Yeah, well, Myron and the crew of 3 or 4 that we had sent behind him to watch him, like, from the shadows.
Is Brian still with us? Is he still here?
Is who?
The guy with the bony hands.
Oh yeah, Christopher. Yeah, he's just sitting there and kind of maybe making some conversation, answering some questions of the nods around him. But yeah, he's still in the same place.
So Christopher, the other kindred up in the Bollingsworth estate, are they made there, or do they bring in existing ones? This is important because this will let us know whether or not to expect Myron to be alive somewhere.
They make them there.
So, if Myron and his group hasn't come back, they've either defected, which I doubt, or they've been eliminated.
Well, they've been absconded up north.
Well, that's what I was asking Christopher for. Because if there's history of them kidnapping to do things on, then he would know.
Right.
If he's never seen it, then we can't assume that as an option.
Well, and Christopher pipes up again. Well, it seemed like they were mainly taking people from the area, like other farm boys like me, people on the run.
So you knew some of your other captives from around the area?
Yeah, one of my boyhood friends from a neighboring farm.
Now, when they got you, how did they get you?
I had been selling animal parts to Demeter for the high price, and one day he came to the exchange and he hit me over the head, and I woke up in the holding cells.
Were you allowed to talk to your other captives?
No.
Gave you an out on that one. I look to the group. I guess we're going up north.
Let's go check the tobacco.
Check the tobacco.
What is the tobacco
docks.
warehouse?
The tobacco docks.
Listen, if we're trying to get caught, we go up north. If we're trying to get the Myron treatment, then we're going to the tobacco docks.
The difference is that we know that we're going. We know what we're facing. If
they're not
Myron
taking
is still
anybody
there,
from the city.
Yeah, so Myron won't be up north. Myron will be either captured or dead
Myron's
at the tobacco
dead.
docks.
He's gone.
Well, at the very
Maybe the
least,
people
we
are
can-
still around it.
You don't know that. He's tenacious. He was a sailor and all that. He's not going to go down without a fight. Just because he's new doesn't mean he's not powerful at
Why
all.
would they keep him alive? And if it's been days and he did escape, why isn't he here?
I mean, I'd assume they'd want to keep him for information on what's going on down here.
There's plenty of people coming in and out of you've got your borders closed now. But like you said, you were getting flooded with refugees. Who's to say who was coming and going? He's got his information. He's got all the information he needs. That's why he knew where mine was going to be. But to be easy, we'll go check out the docks first. But I think the sausage is being made way up north.
The sausage is definitely being made up north right now. From
Then
what
why
I've
are we
gathered,
going on side quests?
Because we can't make it tonight. We need to make a plan to go. There are over 25 people at this farm and this estate.
There's probably that many in the Coke bottle. Brimmer still here?
Yeah?
Well, maybe an accident will happen twice then.
Seems that I always get results.
Brimmer looks sour.
It's an accident, Brimmer. We're going to look for your man and we're going to take care of it. Because to your point, the prince does not give a fuck about technicalities. All he sees is he's got to answer to somebody for all of these new Nosferatu running around. And he's got to show them that he's taking care of business. He doesn't give a fuck that you didn't do it. He's going to put somebody's head on a platter to take up to his boss to show that it's been taken care of.
And Brimmer leans forward and he kind of like runs a finger along his large bulbous arm and pulls a cockroach out that skitters across his index finger and looks over it at Walter. I'd advise you to watch your tongue while you're down here. This is my territory. I know the operations better than anyone. You've been here a handful of times. You don't know me or my men. I was appointed here for a reason. By the Mithraic god himself.
I look at Brimmer. Pardon my French, sir. I saw how you talk to your men and I respect the fuck out of you. It's not my intent to ruffle your feathers. I'm here to say we're here to do you this task.
And don't get it wrong. I'm not some hopeful fledgling that thinks that Myron is having a tea party at the tobacco docks. I understand that he could very well be gone. But that's 5 of us gone, completely unaccounted for, while everything is closing in. Anyway, we told him to use the northeastern warehouse by the Queen's tobacco pipe. It's this big furnace. We burned all sorts of contraband there, the city did. And, so he should be at that northeastern warehouse, because it's just warehouse after warehouse down there, just rows and rows. So, up north of the tobacco docks, that's the place that he might find him. And listen, if you can find any information about what happened to them, we'll happily provide whatever you want when you decide to take the party up north. You have my word on that.
Very well, Underprince. No, I do agree with your assessment that the information that we can track down from Myron will be connected to the Bollingsworths and the ultimate goal that we all have, and that's to get Mithras off everyone's backs. So, someone other than me can tell Lillian where we're going, please, and then we will be on our way, and hopefully we'll be right back.
All right, I do thank you, and we'll be waiting. And he actually stands up after that, and he like actually like goes behind Christopher and like puts a hand on his shoulder and then like starts kind of like whispering to Christopher.
All right, and I turn to the rest of my coterie. Well, shall we?
Let's go find some things out.
We shall.
Think she'll give us a ride?
Of course. Just gotta ask nicely.
Then, like I said, someone other than me can ask.
Told me you're her friend.
I will ask. I'm just going to get up and start walking.
Yeah, so the same Nosferatu basically escorts you to the door. You head out of the Warren, you go back through the tunnel and arrive back at the bridge. And let's say that Lillian and the driver had completed another lap and are pulling up around that time as well.
Stop and roll down the window. You boys have fun?
The hunt is on.
Ah, interesting. Where?
I forgot to me manners.
Pity.
We will need to head to the northwest docks to the tobacco docks.
All right, I suppose I should meet you there then.
Actually, I'd be taking a ride if you're offering.
Of course. You may have a ride, Mr. Price. Not a problem at all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Does that go for just Walter, or can all of us hitch a ride, ma'am?
Are you asking, Rafe? Would all of you like a ride?
Would be helpful, Mum.
Walter's looking at you guys.
Of course. Do. Make yourselves comfortable.
Rafe will climb into the car and...
It's like...
We still didn't technically ask.
I liked pointing it out.
The driver, like, he does, like, you can kind of see him shift uncomfortably as, like, everybody piles in. And it's just like, but he doesn't say anything or like, audibly react. So the driver is going to drive north and just slightly west to the tobacco docks. So as I had described before, it really is a place of like warehouse upon warehouse, like these super, super long buildings. At one point, one warehouse could hold up to 24,000 hogshead of tobacco. That's hence its name. And the Queen's tobacco pipe indeed is a very large furnace at the north side where the city would burn contraband. It's one of those places, like recently the railways, that has started to really like come back to life after the war. Because it's a pretty localized thing. It's not so much like doing a lot major things for the city necessarily at this point. There is it's called the Ornamental Canal. It runs east to west, kind of right below where the warehouses starts. And once you are arriving in the car, you can see that all these warehouses of the tobacco docks, it's surrounded by very large, high walls. So like, they're in good shape. They're very, very tall, that are surrounding them. But there's easily identifiable entrances, there, around. So where are you stopping the car?
Probably
Maybe a couple blocks away, Mom.
yeah, I was trying to determine whether I wanted how bold I wanted to be about it. Like if I wanted to just pull straight up like I own the joint, or if I wanted to be discreet. In fact, Lillian would probably ask, so are we discretion, or should we proceed as though we mean business?
Discretion, more than likely first, and then if whatever's there is still there, then we'll readjust.
The best case scenario, we're dealing with absconders. Worst case is murderers. So let's
One of
sneak in.
the 4 or 5 gargoyles, understood. All right, not a problem.
I put that under murderer.
That's fair. So, discretion over intimidation, not a problem. Driver, would you just please pull right over off to the side there? Thank you.
So he actually pulls, it's probably ultimately about like 2 or 3 blocks away. He kind of pulls to the east and kind of like a divergent road off of the main road that goes north and south, which is Wapping Lane, with the tobacco docks being just west of that. So he kind of pulls back, and you actually reach like a little dead end.
So I will tell him to all right, do us a favor and stay here. Lock the doors, of course. The usual.
Of course. Not a problem.
Good man. Shall we?
We shall.
And then I will get out.
Has anybody been to these docks before? Is it familiar to us?
No, there would have been no reason for any one of you to have gone there in the past. You, as general residents of the East London area, you would definitely be familiar with them and like where they were and like, you know, oh yeah, the Queen's Tobacco Pipe. That's kind of an East London like landmark almost. Like people know about that. You know that there are warehouses there, but none of you have ever been there before.
Okay. So I guess we start sneaking around, not casually walking around looking for a way in.
I have not any of the information that you all seem to have, so
No.
I'm going to have to take your lead on it. And I'll look at Tommy. Tommy.
We have 5 individuals that were holding on to a traitor in the building, and they have been unresponsive. So, best is that they're being held. Worst is that they're already dead.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going in for information.
All right. Did anyone bother to get the name of the traitor? Anyone? Really? Honestly, all of you, no one bothered to get the identity of the traitor. So, let's say the traitor's the only one alive and he feeds us a story. We have no idea what... Oh,
You're more than welcome to come with us next time.
Rafe will actually start laughing at that.
a necessity to ensure these meetings take place somewhere more attuned to my taste so that I can do that.
Do you want Underprince Brimmer tromping up your foyer?
No, but I have a cellar.
Cellar it is, then.
Right, well,
Okay, so give me an idea about your direction, your approach here.
Well, Rafe, as we established previously, doesn't have anything in stealth, so we're doing we're going to act like we belong here bit. Kind of adding a little gruffness to his walk, trying to, blend in, look like he's a general laborer here at the warehouse district.
Okay.
I will unseen passage.
I'm gonna activate Sense the Unseen and Heightened Senses as well.
Okay. All right, so we're all gonna do a couple things here. Okay, yeah. So Tommy, you need to make a rouse for unseen
Successful.
passage. Okay, and do remember, no sounds louder than a whisper when you're moving. Okay, so Rafe, there really aren't that many people around. There's, if any, really, that you can see right now. So I'm not going to really make you do like a performance roll, because once it's like deep in the night, as it is at this point, like it's going on 1 a.m., people are just not here. They're not trying to fool around in these dark warehouses when the sun goes down. So yeah, no roll required for Rafe. Okay. So for Lillian and your Sense the Unseen, go ahead and roll me Wits and Aspects, please.
And I will also interrupt and say I'm also using Heightened Senses.
Any particular sense?
Sight.
Okay.
Six critical.
Okay. So Lillian, you, with your heightened hearing here first, you do hear like animals scurrying around, like street cats chasing rats, like yowling here and there. Like you hear a lot of like skittering around, mostly of rats. So that does kind of like, you hear those little sounds in your ears. And you blink a couple of times, you turn on your supernatural sense of sight as well. And you see many obfuscated figures by the northeastern dock. It almost like takes you a while to be like, there's one. They're kind of like around the back of the northeastern warehouse. There's a group by the furnace. There's a group like by the so you see like groups. It almost like comes in as these like little shiny like beacons of figures.
I'm going to just go, Lillian is going to... All right, honestly, there's really nothing here. I think I have a better idea. All of you. Come along.
I'm gonna go over to her. We haven't even started looking yet.
I have a better idea. Trust me. Come along. I don't particularly like dirty places anyway. Let's go. And I'm going to turn and start walking back to the car.
I'm gonna follow after her, kind of. Rafe's maybe wanting to kind of pick a fight here right now. Not like a full-blown, like, yelling and screaming match, but yeah. What? We haven't even gone in any of the buildings. What is your problem?
Tommy, Mr. Price, please come along. I have a better idea. I just remembered something that I gathered from the other Nosferatu we spoke to earlier. Tommy, you remember? I think I know where they might have taken them.
Okay. I follow.
And I'm gonna go along for the ride here.
I'm still going to be obfuscated. I'm just going to sneak into the door when they open the car door.
Okay, so you're going back in the car.
Yes. As soon as we get into the car,
Okay.
I'm going to inform the driver to drive and to just keep driving. Not gonna give him directions, I'm just gonna say drive. Not here, anywhere but here, just keep driving. And then once we get out of that little area, we were completely and utterly outnumbered and surrounded.
Like how many?
Like a lot. Like a lot.
Shit.
So, thought it might be a very better idea for us to not stay very long, just in case. You're welcome.
Thank you for the tactical decision.
If you want to go back,
No.
now that we all know that the situation that is at hand, that can
And
be discussed, but...
You're having this conversation when it is very abruptly interrupted by a gargoyle colliding with the
damn.
front of the car,
Bloody
and
hell.
killing the driver in its claws.
All right, everybody out.
Ooh, ooh, yeah.
and the gargoyle doesn't like scream or screech or anything of that nature. It just collided with the car. The front is mashed up. The smoke is rising from the front. And you hear it say, "It is time."
Oh, it is time.
Well, at least we know what we're up against.
Since the car is already damaged, I just kicked the door open.
I've got rapid reflexes.
Okay.
So is this thing basically just doing an ambush and get the hell out of here, or is it sticking around intending on taking us out?
It's sticking around. Now, I will say, after the initial impact, it's not like trying to like take a swipe or a bite or anything out of any of you. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
not
not-
actively
yeah,
like accosting
I'm not
you.
jumping at it like a hooligan, but I mean, if we can talk to it, we can talk to it. But I need to get out of this car.
Right.
Once
Yeah.
one of the doors opens, I will walk my way out. I'm still obfuscated.
I'm going to... Alright. I'm going to go ahead and activate Awe.
Okay.
And I'm going to try conversing with it.
Okay, I'm making a quick roll.
Okay.
Roll your manipulation and presence.
Okay. I'm gonna rouse manipulation if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm good on that front. Thank God.
Okay.
Oh boy. 3 successes.
He is not necessarily paying attention to you, as all would normally do. And this particular gargoyle is like this dark midnight purple color with these crystalline growths. And it's not necessarily like big and large and beefy like Eli from the hospital. This is clearly a different situation. Now, its wings are much larger. And it's got these long, spindly, these long, like skinny claws on its hand. And he cocks his head to the side and looks at Rafe. It's like, it's time to meet the lady.
You didn't have to come at it like this, though, lad.
He doesn't seem to understand that.
I like that, Car. All right, lady. Where are we meeting the lady? Where is the lady?
Back this way. And he kind of languidly like hovers off the ground and like is going back toward the tobacco docks. And he's not like flying way ahead of you. Like he's like kind of just above you and like leading you to him, to the area, to the tobacco docks.
Are all the Nosferatu still like all over the fucking place? Or all the obfuscated people?
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
All right, just making sure. Oh.
All right. I'm gonna take the lead here.
Okay, so Rafe is at the head of like the marching order. So you follow this flying midnight purple crystalline gargoyle to and you go you get to the tobacco docks, and then you just he like leads you around like to a really weird like side entrance. And you can easily go through that. It's just like a door that like seems like maybe it was kind of ignored, somebody forgot to lock it, something like that. Just he stops flying, opens the door, and then he's like on all fours but not flying, and he is moving toward the northeastern warehouse by the furnace. So he leads you up there. Everybody roll wits and awareness.
All right.
Goose egg.
5.
Rafe, you're very like taken by the image of this gargoyle. So like that's all you're focusing on is following it and getting to the destination safely.
Toreador,
He's on
Toreador.
point.
What's that,
It's a
Ben?
good thing he's on point.
Right.
Because like pretty.
Yeah. Tommy and Walter. You do get the impression that there is like, the closer you get, the more like it's like, oh, there's like some activity here. Like, even though you can't see the presumably obfuscated Nosferatu, like there's stuff going on. You hear the rats skittering. You you feel that you're entering like a hub of activity. Now, Lillian, you actually hear with your heightened senses here, since you were hearing and you had that roll that you did. You hear a voice crying miserably. And eventually, you make it to the front door of this warehouse, and the gargoyle kind of elbows the door, and you all step in. Before you is Myron, staked, carelessly thrown on the ground. There is another gargoyle, one you haven't seen, large and bulky, kind of like Eli. But this one has blue veins running all through its stone-like skin. Tommy, you see Nathaniel bound to a chair, gagged, sobbing loudly, his tears wetting the cloth of the gag. And Walter, also tied and bound, is Jack Dory. And standing in front of them in this fairly empty warehouse, maybe some boxes scattered around, litter, more rats. There are 4 or 5 large looking individuals behind the captives. You also see clearly a Nosferatu, not obfuscated, hunched over, long, stringy hair, gray skin, spinal protrusions, almost primate in its movements, looking hungrily at the captives, caressing their necks. And in front of all of them stands a woman. She's small, porcelain skin, long, dark, curly hair spread out around her, in a black dress that's clinging to her. Looks like it might be slightly wet. She has large, wide eyes, brown, a small pink mouth. And she looks over all of you as you grow closer. Finally. Took you long enough. You'll hear what I have to say. And we'll see exactly where your loyalties lie. And she looks over to Nathaniel. And she says, Tommy, my. I'm glad it's us that we're meeting now, not the bobbies and the cops that will be waiting for you at home. Quite artistic, aren't you? Big smiles. When was the last time you smiled, Tommy? And Walter, curious boy, surrounded by even more curious boys, practically a little army, though quite unorganized and quite fond of you. And she looks at Jack. Rafe, I'm sure you'll notice that there's no one here for you, but thankfully, Miss Crawford took care of that for me. She is quite the clever one. Snatching your wife out of your grasp after the war. Wow. Even less work for me. Easy enough. And Miss Crawford, oh, I've been so looking forward to speaking with you. I do think we have quite a lot in common, actually, and I think you'll rather like what I have to say. And
say it.
Well, and she looks around at all of the captives, at the gargoyles, at the Nosferatu that's still licking his lips above all the captives. And Nathaniel continues, he starts like wailing. And it's at that point that the Nosferatu there just hits him in the head.
Stop that.
And he goes unconscious. Okay, so you're trying to...
Irresistible
Who
voice
are you
compel.
talking to?
The Nosferatu that hit him. Just saying, stop that.
Okay.
Irresistible voice with compel.
Okay, so... Just need a... Quick reference here. 1 minute.
Charisma, dominate versus intelligence, resolve.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Eight critical.
So Nathaniel has already been knocked unconscious by the Nosferatu, but as the Nos attempts to menace him further, he does stop and lean back, and he looks toward the woman, and she just smiles. She smiles at him. Oh, there are many necessary things needing to be done in this city and to those who reside here. Would you like to parley? And she kind of looks at all of you.
We can talk.
Tommy, roll willpower for Nathaniel's.
Lillian's just gonna go, we can talk, so long as your people keep their composure.
As a 1.
It's a 1.
Also, as this is being discussed, I'm kind of still obfuscated, just kind of slowly moving around us. I'm not going forward or anything, but I'm just kind of see if people are making eye contact where I'm moving.
The woman definitely is. It's clear that she can see you. Maybe one or two others also are following you. So
okay.
You've been detected essentially by at least.
After that, I'm going to stay obfuscated, but I will stop moving after I notice. Just kind of get back in line.
Okay. Tommy, you hold on to your composure with just the last bit of your will. Maybe even just seeing Nathaniel there and breathing was enough to stop the beast this one last time. And so she looks over all of you again. Oh, I'm so sorry. Where are my manners? My name is Regina Bollingsworth, Lady of the House of Bollingsworth. And these are my many companions.
You've been busy.
Oh, if you only knew, my darling. What has been done in darkness, in shadow. Your eyes, your accomplices, your employees, they can only see so far. My plan was well underway while you were still building your empire. What do you know?
Well, we know enough that when Mithras wakes up and he finds out what you've been up to, that's basically going to be it for you.
Oh, no. No. You don't understand. Mithras. And you see her mouth twitch. He will be starved. He will be laid low. He will be ash. For his crimes and his arrogance.
Well, when you're the person in charge and you make the laws, crime is relative. What's your personal grudge against Mithras?
You misunderstand. I did not start any of this. It was not my grudge that brought this to pass. It was his misplaced hatred. It is him who called me usurper. It is him that found my bloodline dishonest and unwanted, as well as that of my sisters. And so I merely cultivated my plan.
I'm less concerned with what happened. I'm more interested in how you plan to ash and starve the Prince of London.
And her face kind of goes from that like angry consternation, like it just immediately lifts back into something more like light and hopeful. It's already begun. Let him think like so many of my kind before Mithras, that we are responsible for the plague. You remove the doctors, the nurses in the poorest part of town. The mortals die. The food disappears. The blood dries up.
You do realize with that plan of yours, you're not just starving out Mithras, but that would sort of affect all of us. You realize that, don't you? Even yourself.
I have an army and a system of my own. Beyond London. I have what I need. I have what my family needs. I can move across oceans. I can do anything. With the magic in my blood.
The unfortunate reality of the circumstances, though, Ms. Bollingsworth, is your plan to starve the city didn't really hold up, though, did it? If, quite frankly, 4 random strangers can put you on your heels, so to speak, what is logically going to happen after Mithras brings the full weight of the Camarilla down? We're 4 random kindred.
To be fair, we wouldn't have found her if we didn't crash our car.
To be fair, I suspected what was happening and we were not prepared for that, so that is why my car got crashed. By the way, Madam Bollingsworth, you owe me a new car.
I kind of look at Madam Bollingsworth. Forgive, I'm not a smart man. Why are you telling us all this?
She needs our help, wants our help. Recruitment, am I right?
Are we to take on Mithras?
More like stop doing what we're doing, if I'm guessing correctly. I might not be.
I look at Myron. Did Myron get the same deal?
He is inconsequential, except to further my goals. He will not receive this offer. And if you think that this has only been going on in this small, poor, shabby neighborhood above the Thames, you are gravely mistaken.
Oh, that is not my idea.
Appreciate you confirming that for us, though. You
again, I'm perfectly happy to tell you some things, as I said, I've come to parley, and not so much to ask you to stop what you're doing, but to ask you to join me in my effort. Has not the tower needled you and prevented you from reaching your full potential, Lillian? Has not the tower turned their back on sireless fledglings like you, Rafe? Has the Camarilla not wanted to persecute those with an unholy talent for violence? Tommy and Walter, you have a whole tribe behind you. Do you think that when Mithras comes out of his isolation, that he will look kindly on a group of termites filled with your blood, fawning after you like some kind of small-time god? It's not. It's not how you see it. This had to be done. And of course, East London would stick out because are not the poorest and the weakest here, and thus the easiest to eliminate without even the smallest bit of care from the ineffectual mortal government, that they'll simply die out. The flu is ravaging the world. And I'm only here to bring further progress for our kind. What say you, Lillian?
Well, that's going to depend. You see, you want loyalty, you want me to join, us all to join you. What is that going to entail exactly? I don't want, I don't want, like, weird disfigurations from your creations that have been made by, what was the name again? I forget.
Demeter.
That one, right.
Very talented he is indeed. But that wouldn't be necessary for any of you, of course. You already have your own talents and strengths. All I ask is that you lend them to me to continue to starve the false king, the false god. That's all.
So sort of like a partnership?
Yes. Lillian, can you imagine the partnership between us?
Oh, I can imagine a lot of things.
What things we could accomplish together. Your business, your empire, your family legacy, combined with mine. With the things I have already built. No one could stop us. Not even an ancient prince, a violent little boy.
All right. Let's say I agree to join you, because I cannot speak for the others, but let's say I agree to join you. What is it you want me to do exactly? Like, what is the first thing you want me to do? What do you want?
Yes. Good. The first thing I'd want you to do is lie to the tower. Divert them. Draw the eyes of Lady Anne and the sheriff and all the rest away from what's been going on. Just tell them that you've handled it. And then I'll begin to handle the rest, of course.
And your captives.
What's that?
And your captors.
My captives? Well, if we're going to work together, then I don't see why they just can't go back to the knights as normal, though I will have to kill the new Nosferatu, unfortunately. He can't go back now, can he?
I wouldn't say kill him. They're all very useful in their own way. Tommy found out earlier one of yours was very useful. Nonetheless, and don't be mad at him, I told him to do it. Nonetheless, again, there are ways. You have to be creative, or you're never going to get much farther than you have right now. Which I'm sure that's why you're talking to us now and wanting this parlay of... And understood. I'll agree to join your side of things, but all of them have to go free. You don't have to set the new Nosferatu free, just keep him staked, don't kill him. Might come in handy at some point. There are lots of ways that you can twist and bend minds.
And Regina looks at Tommy. I know you've seen so much, so many horrors, as have I. But together we can prevent further destruction. At least destruction that you yourself do not wreak upon the city. And what beautiful destruction it is. Though you must do something about him, and points to Nathaniel. He is simply a bandage on your open, flowing wound. I see the black in your aura.
Might I interject for a moment? You see, you're probably not going to get very far at all, so long as that one there, that I silenced a moment ago, is still, lack of better terminology, living-ish.
And she actually moves over toward the Nosferatu that you had compelled to stop basically menacing the captives. And with a caress to the side of his face, looks into his eyes, bites down on his neck, and drains him dry. And that's where we're going to end this session of London's Bleeding.
Before Tommy goes psycho.
Thank you to everyone who has joined us tonight. I hope you enjoyed. We're going to do a quick round of outros for our players, and then we will say goodnight. So let us start once again with Ben as Walter.
My name is Ben. I play Walter, the Gangrel. You can't find me anywhere besides here in the Discord, so high fives.
Hi, Patrick Gill, creative director here at Martlet Games. I was playing Rafe the Toreador. Keep an eye on my socials, the Martlet socials. Don't know when this is going to be airing, but we got stuffs everywhere. Watch our stuffs everywhere. Twitch, YouTube, etc. and so forth. Love you all. Have a good night.
Hi everyone, I'm Samantha McClarty. I have been Lillian Crawford the Ventru. I do stuff and things, whatever games I'm asked to do, pretty much I do them. I have no idea what is going on when this airs. I am involved in several projects that are currently recording that will air at later dates, and I don't know when those are airing either, so I can't really tell you anything other than just pay attention to the socials. I'm sure that there's a link, but it's somewhere, in the chat maybe to tell you where to go, but it's at Just S McClarty on the socials. Follow me there, and I always post what I'm doing, and that's your best bet. Really bad at outros. Next.
Hey everybody, Stephen Rieger, creative partner here at Martlet Games, playing Tommy the Malkavian. Hopefully I'll make it through the next game without going psycho. Great cliffhanger. We'll see what happens. At Darth Generico, check us all out, follow us through, watch our stuff.
Awesome. Thank you to the players. My name is Sarah. I am the storyteller for London's Bleeding. You can find me on Twitter at MC Diabetes. I'm also a creative partner at Martlet Games. I'm also going to be involved in several future projects that are kicking around here at Martlet and otherwise. So again, just follow my social media, follow the Martlet social media. And don't forget, if you are wanting more Londons, earlier Londons, you can join our Patreon at the $5 level and get episodes a little early most of the time. So do consider that if you're enjoying this, and any bits and subscriptions you can contribute to us always help. We're very appreciative. So thank you to everybody for watching, and we will see you next time for London's Bleeding. Goodbye.